fluctuation in currency rates, the increased cost of energy, and accessibility issues related to international terrorism. And in this regard, our neighbors to the south have become very paranoid about this particular topic. One of the very interesting things that this commission has done recently is developed a new market segmentation tool called an Explorer Quotient. And what this Explorer Quotient attempts to identify the underlying emotional motivators of travelers beyond traditional demographics. And those traditional demographics include age, gender, geography, etc. And what this tool attempts to do is to match consumer desires with the right travel experience. And it's a very interesting, forward-looking approach to the promotion of tourism. And what I would like to do is just to share with you a personal example of how this Explorer Quotient is applied. Last year, I had the good fortune of spending 2 weeks on a river rafting expedition on a very remote Canadian river north of the Arctic Circle, which ended up in the Arctic Ocean and on the Arctic Ocean. And this particular excursion that we were on took 2 weeks, and we were in a national park of Canada called Ivavik National Park, and there were only 150 individuals allowed permission to go into that park on an annual basis. So it was a very isolated and remote experience. But the conclusion of this experience was perhaps one of the most memorable personal experiences I have ever had. And that was responding to the challenge of one of my colleagues to go for a midnight swim with icebergs. So the photograph that you see there, I don't have the video on this particular presentation, is of me going in amongst the icebergs for about a 1-minute swim, and this photograph was taken at 1 o'clock in the morning, which is a very spectacular time to be in Canada's Arctic. So here's an example of an application of an Explorer Quotient. The one agency that has been created in Canada which has developed a leading-edge approach to sport tourism is the Canadian Sport Tourism Alliance. And it is affiliated with the Canadian Sport Tourism Commission. And the key objective of this organization is to market Canada as a preferred sport tourism destination, using the expertise and leadership as a catalyst to grow the $2 billion per year sport tourism industry in Canada. It is an organization that allows for the sharing of best practices, and it is an organization that provides tools which allow one to measure economic impact of sports events, and basically put in place to enhance the profile of sport tourism. And once again, they have an excellent electronic website that provides wonderful information for those people interested in using sport tourism tools to market certain activities. One of the things that this organization has been able to do is to develop leading-edge tools by creating industry products that are available to its members who register with the organization. And here are some of the examples of the tools that it has created. And I'll just speak very briefly to each of them, but if you want more detail, they can be obtained on the website. First one is a business plan template, which allows a bidding committee or organizing committee to develop a business plan with a view to hosting an event that can be at the local level, the national level, or the international level. It's a template where you just plug in your own information, and it provides you with some answers and direction. A second, but very practical and applied product that has been marketed by the Canadian Sports Tourism Alliance is an events database, which is an intranet platform which allows local communities to match their talents and abilities and what they have to offer with international sports events that have the potential for hosting possibilities. So you input your data into the database, and the computer will tell you which events are suitable for you to bid for and apply for. One of the very important tools that they have developed is an economic assessment model, which they refer to as STEAM. This is a leading-edge economic impact assessment tool that allows for prediction and measurement of the economic impact of a sport event on a community in our country. And this is a very good tool. There is an extension of that tool which allows organizations to extend this tool even further to conduct surveys on-site at events in their communities, once again to get better objective data to make an assessment of return on investment. And then the final tool that it has, which is a very good one, is one which assists communities in quantifying their assets, such as sport facility inventory, the accommodation capacity for hosting different events, the health of the local sport infrastructure, and the organizational capacity. Some additional items that this CST8 conducts: they have an annual sports event congress, which is a businessing and networking opportunity. And there are several membership categories which are offered, including an international one. So it is possible, for example, for Russia to take out a membership, a country membership with the CST8, which would allow the country and all of the different institutions within the country to access these really very well-developed, leading-edge research tools associated with sport tourism. So it's something that countries should consider taking a look at, because I think there is some merit in these different things. Within our country, tourism and sport tourism is organized on a local level as well. And it's not uncommon in our country to have agencies created on a local level that are very professional in their approach to tourism and sports tourism activities. And indeed, local communities identify and recognize the potential economic and community development potential that exists in spending and allocating resources in this area. Within my community, London, Ontario, which is a city of about 350,000 people, we have a local tourism organization that promotes area attractions, promotes arts and culture, meetings and conventions, local events and festivals, and also sport and leisure activities. And once again, there is a website that deals with these different kinds of attractions. And there is, within this structure, Sport Tourism London, which is dedicated specifically to promoting sport tourism in our community. And when we talk about sport tourism in our community, we find that we have excellent facilities, experienced and dedicated volunteers, and we have organizational expertise, which allows our committee or allows our community to become a destination of choice for sporting events. And this agency was created almost 10 years ago, and the strategic decision which was made at that time was to operationalize this phrase, a place to come and play. And I'm sure that you would see these kinds of things existing in different communities throughout the world. But there's a wonderful example of events of national and international importance which have been hosted by our community, which have been actively pursued by our local community in order to develop the kinds of things I've already spoken to. And one of the events which is consistent with the theme of this international conference, Olympic Games and Paralympic Games, is the concept of Special Olympics, which is become an international event that deals with participants who are intellectually challenged. And we in our community, and I'm very heavily involved with this personally, are hosting the National Summer Olympic Games for Special Olympics in London, leading towards a selection which will go to the international events. We also have a program called Ambassador London, which is a very successful event. And just a couple of brief comments on Canada and mega sports events. We have hosted a number of Olympic Games, Commonwealth Games, and Pan American Games. And until recently, these have been very well received by the government, corporate sector, international sports community, and the taxpayers of Canada. We are seeing some questioning of this now taking place. And an example of this was the city of Halifax, which at the last moment withdrew its bid to host the 2014 Commonwealth Games. And this perhaps might be a sign of government saying that maybe we're spending too much money and too much of our resources in this area. Obviously, a big event for our country is going to be Vancouver Whistler in the Winter Olympic Games and the Paralympic Games. A couple of brief comments here. Leveraging media exposure for Canada is a strategic priority, and escalating cost overruns and the threat of major labor disruptions are issues that we have to deal with. And one conclusion that I would make is that the event will be over budget. And I'm sure that a similar statement can be made with Sochi in Russia. But anyway, welcome to Canada. See you in Vancouver, Whistler in February of 2010. And just to conclude, I have 3 comments to make. Under normal circumstances and if properly controlled, sport tourism can be utilized as an important tool in economic development, sports system development, and social and community development. Second observation, in conclusion, Canada has developed a rationally, carefully articulated approach to sport tourism that operates at the local, regional, national, and international levels. And the final concluding comment that I would make is that there are numerous benefits to be gained by studying other countries' approaches to sports tourism and adapting them to one's own system. I'm sure that there is much that Canada can learn by studying what happens at this institute in the area of tourism. So with those comments, I would conclude by saying, Spasiba, thank you, merci.